Hello, good evening everybody, and welcome back to TTTV. This is TTL F2 here on a Tuesday night, and we are here for the penultimate round of this season at the United States Grand Prix here at the Circuit of the Americas. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box is James Head. James, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fantastically well. How are you doing tonight, Kieran?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all. Obviously, we've wrapped up the Drivers' Championship this time around, this season. It is Siege who was our champion for Season 4. However, James, there's still battle for best the rest in the Drivers' Championship and the battle for the top team as we head to the final two rounds.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see what is going to happen unfolding out on track tonight. First point I'd like to make about the drivers. Honey not making it tonight. He's on 77 points as it stands. Lyronix, Afri, Navy and Sean, all them behind, 65, 64, 62, 61 respectively. Literally, you could put a blanket all over the five of them, I think. 16 points separating five drivers.
As well as that, I don't know, it's worth keeping an eye on Maze, it's worth keeping an eye on Crazy Legs, because in theory, they're still mathematically in line to finish anywhere as high as third place at the moment. Anything can happen, and it normally does.
It normally does, especially round here in Kota, and I think the back ends, especially on these cars, are going to be kicking out a hell of a lot. Turn 11 is going to be Spin Central tonight. It really is.
Spin Central, trademarked. Get it trending on Twitter. Well, James, obviously you've driven a couple of laps around here. You're now spearheading the TTL F2 movement moving into next season. We go from a 100% feature race, which if you're wondering is 31 laps here tonight. We move from that to a feature and sprint race with one-shot qualifying.
Yes, we do. So essentially what you're going to be seeing is pretty much the format that you're seeing now, one-shot qualifying, but it is going to be... if I just find what's going to be happening, it's going to be 50% feature race next season. And then, once that 50% race is over, we're going to be reversing the top 8 in the grid. And then we're going to have a 50% sprint race as well. 2 races and different points, which I'll come on to now, actually. There's going to be different point system for both seasons. So, the sprint race, how it's going to work, it's going to be anywhere between 15 and 1 point, and that'll be for the first 10 positions. So it'll be 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for the top 10. And then the feature race, it's pretty much... it's the feature race that gets those points. And I think the sprint race gets the full hog 25 points traditional F1 system. That's how it's going to work. Might have got a bit confused up there. I've got to revise that for next season.
Well, here's an interesting one. I don't know if many of you have spotted, but Andy here, TTL F1 commentator, is racing tonight. Now, it'd be interesting to see if we can get him into the chat here, into the commentary box, just for one lap around Kota. I don't know, James. Should we let him in?
Could we sneak him in? I think we will. I think the viewers will be wanting to see that as well. Next well.
Go on then, bring him here, we can have a chat with him before the race starts. Not something we normally do, however, because a commentator is going into the racing for the final 2 races of the season, I'm expecting him to get 50 points, James. I don't know about you, but 50 points on the board is minimum. 50
points, yeah, 50 points is definitely on the cards for him, I think. Just suggest them now.
Yeah, I just realised it's my party, isn't it? So we're going to have a blue screen, yeah, which means you get cut off. Whilst I try and invite Andy to the party. So Andy basically racing tonight. He said, you know what, why not? I'm gonna be racing the final 2 races, and that's not a bad way to put it. And with a line, James, of maybe racing next season.
Yeah, he said to me he's going to be hopefully available 80% of the time, which means he is going to be racing full time next season. The details of which I might come on to at the end of the stream. I'm not going to give any car choices away, possibly until the end of the week. So it will be interesting to see what Andy ends up in. I think, Kieran, you know privately. I've told you, I think, already.
No, you haven't.
I haven't.
No, you haven't. Well, the drivers are getting ready here. It looks like we've got 14 drivers here ready and waiting for the American Grand Prix, or the US Grand Prix, I should say, at COTA, and it's a great track. All right. I misread what Andy said to me. He said he won't do this week, but next week, if he can find his headphones, he'll do it. So,
I've just seen that in the chat.
Maybe we could ride on board with this car for a lap. Who knows? It just depends who we're on a lap at the time with at the time of conversation. Normally, I just think, oh, let's do a hot lap on board with so and so. It just happens at random. So anyway, as you said, James, 20 corners around here, including some corners that require a lot of patience, especially that long right-hander, as Andy called it last time out in F1, that also almost mirror turn 8 at Turkey. It just seems like the corner's going on forever, and in these cars that have obviously less aero, we of course have that have that challenge of keeping the car planted on the track. It's not easy, not by a long shot, but it's a lot of fun. Also up towards turn 1, obviously the track goes uphill quite substantially as well, almost an 11% gradient as you head up the hill, so that no doubt helps with the braking up towards turn 1. But however, if you leave it a slight tad bit too late, you lock up a treat in these cars, and as soon as you lock up, that's about it. I don't know about you, James, but I'm riding on board with Jeffrey here as he makes his way on towards the start finish line, and of course coming up towards that turn 1, the hill just climbs and climbs and climbs, and it's almost like you can see the apex to not seeing it whatsoever. You've got to try and turn in and hope that it's there, that you've got the turn in right. Looks like Jeffrey has this time around, heading now down the hill through turn 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. It's an endless S's section that seems like it goes on for such a long time. Flecking the car into turn 4, running slightly wide on entry into 5. Not too much of a problem though, because the entry of turn 6 is important. Through turn 7, now up the hill through the right-hander of turn 8, over then the king of turn 9. Careful on that curb there, as you saw Jeffrey just slightly loosen that back end, heading now through turn 10 and down the hill then towards turn 11. Heavy braking zone, and we're coming up towards the first DRS zone of the lap then, down towards turn 12. Expect this to be... Oh, Jeffrey's lost the back end completely there. And so no doubt he'll probably, will he complete the lap? No, he won't. So we're going to run on board with George for the rest of the lap, as he's the closest car to Jeffrey at the time. A seamless transition. He's now making his way down towards turn 12. Obviously using that curve on the right hand side. No, not to try and open up the corner. A little bit late on the brakes there. That's how you can see. But he just missed the apex there. Now coming in towards turns 13 and 14. Lovely entry into 13 through 14 now. Very cautious on the accelerator is George, as we make our way now down towards turn 15. Very tight on the entrance here. And then we come towards Andy's mirror turn 8 of Turkey. Right-handers galore over the Max Verstappen curve. And then through towards turn 18, on the run now towards the final 2 corners, turns 19 and 20. Over the curb we go. Watch out for the curb on the right hand side. Very easy to invalidate your lap time and to basically give yourself that warning there. But it is Frisch who's going to be on pole position as George makes his way towards the start finish line. So Frisch then is on pole position for the F2 feature race here in the USA. So let's have a look at the qualifying results then. After that one-shot qualifying, it is Frisch on pole then, 145.9, a tenth of a second ahead of Navy in the MP Motorsport car. Siege is in 3rd place on a 146.2, then it's Sean in 4th. Oxford on his debut, qualifying in 5th place there. Mays in 6th, Crazy Legs in 7th, Yuzi in 8th, Andy from the commentary box to the track in 9th place. Barry is there in 10th place. Alan Kay in 11th. George in 12th place, with Jeffrey and Maximus not setting a lap time during this session. What's interesting to note then, James, is that there's 2 tyres available, the super soft tyres and the medium tyres. There's no soft tyre here tonight, so the drivers really have to choose whether they want to risk going onto the super softs and try and make them last as long as possible, or do they trust the medium tyres will get them to the end if they pit on, let's say, lap 5, lap 6.
I think naturally around here, the F1 cars, I know for certain, it's quicker on a 2-stop than it actually is on a 1-stop. I think we're going to be seeing something similar here tonight from quite a lot of these guys, especially the top 10. Most of them start on the super softs. I think it's only, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it is only, is it Andy or somebody, Old Man Barry I think it is, who is on the mediums in the top 10. That's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Well,
Yeah, there you go. You finished your sentence. Well
I was
done,
a bit
James.
unsure at the end there. I think that, and just correct me if I'm wrong as well, Afri, I think that's his first pole position of this season.
Oh, now you're picking out the facts from the fact file. But away we go then for the formation lap then. Of course, now making our way up towards turn 1. Navy starting on the medium tyres. And you were right, it was Barry on a set of medium tyres. So Alan Kay, George, Heddy and Maximus outside the top 10. Maximus the only one out of that lineup starting on a set of super soft tyres outside of the top 10. But Frisch then looking to try and take advantage of this pole position here in America. Looking at his stats for the season, it bodes pretty well for him at the moment. Two second places, 1 third and a 4th place in this season. That's in order as well. So Germany 2nd place, Belgium 2nd place, Singapore 3rd place. Last round in Japan he finished in 4th place. So could this be his day? He's shown some great pace, a 1/10 of a second faster than Navy behind him. But as we know, as we've seen over this season, Navy can pull some results out of the bag. He finished 2nd in the very first round of the season, 3rd at Canada. He then finished 4th at Singapore, 3rd at Japan. But it's been a bit of a hot and cold season for him in between those rounds. If I look at Navy there, he had a DNF in China, a DNF in Germany, a DNF in Singapore. It looked like, oh no, I'm reading the wrong table. There we go. There was a definite DNF in China, a definite DNF in Germany. He actually finished 4th in Singapore. So there's a couple of races he didn't start as well, which was Spain, Austria and Belgium. So it could be a battle between these two. And what about Siege as well? On those super soft tyres, he will be looking to try and claim yet another win this season. He'll be looking for win number 4. The only time he's not finished on the podium this season was at Belgium, where he finished 5th. In order, it was 1st at Australia, 2nd at China, 1st at Spain, 2nd in Canada, 2nd in Austria, 1st in Germany, and then the 5th place came at Belgium. It was 2nd in both Singapore and Japan. So it's fair to say Siege is the driver in form as we make our way around the final corner. Final words before we get underway from you, James.
I think we are going to see Siege win this race, to be honest. I think he might just outdo Navy and Afri off the line, but if I've got to be honest, yeah, I think Siege will win it, but if I've got to be honest, my camp is with Afri, to be honest. Been a lot more consistent than some of the guys around him in the championship battle. Watch out for him off the start.
Well, we'll have to as we make our way up towards turn 1. 14 cars will start this race then. We're moments away from the TTL F2 race here in America, and we count up now towards those 5 red lights here in Austin, Texas. Round 10 is underway, and what a start's like. It's a great start from Frisch then as we make our way up towards turn 1, and he's got a great start then up towards turn 1 as well. Let's see how they can keep it as we head in towards that ever-tightening turn 1. It's 3 wide on entrance in the midfield there. Looks like they've all got away and got through unscathed. Crazy Legs is up to 4th place after that start. A great start from him then, but he's under pressure from Sean as we make our way now through the S section. That's Alan Kay running a little bit wide through turn 3 there, but he's gathered the car up. He's now in 12th place. Maximus has a great start as well. He's up to 11th. Meanwhile, Andy and Mays are battling away. 1/10 of a second between them, of course, on this very first lap. And believe it or not, they are the closest pair out on track right now. Riding on board with Andy then as he makes his way now down towards turn 10. Will he have a go up the inside of Mays? Of course, no DRS then, and Andy backs out of it. Not yet on this first lap. I'll tell you who's going for a move though. Maximus up the inside of Yuzi in towards turn 11. Barry loses the back end then. He was running in 9th, and that could be a load of positions he loses then. He's down to 10th place, now to 11th because of Maximus, and then he tucks back into the slipstream. So bit of cold medium tyres maybe. Up ahead we have a battle going on between Oxford and Sean. Sean then defending the inside line. Oxford can't find a way through. Yuzi meanwhile battling away with Maximus then as they now head their way towards the next corner of turn 13 and 14, and Maximus gets the move done. A hard and charging Maximus is now right behind his teammate. Started from pretty much the back of the grid, now up to 9th place, so a great start from him. Yellow flags in sectors 2 and 3. Jeffrey. That's Jeffrey around. He didn't have a great qualifying session, and he's around again. It looks like the car's okay though in terms of damage, so he will be able to carry on. He's on those medium tyres. Meanwhile, Sean here is closing in on Crazy Legs ahead of him with a little bit of contact in towards the final corner. Sean will now try and sneak up the inside, but he gets a mountain of oversteer on exit there, loses a bit of time. Oxford, meanwhile, is still trying to go side by side with Sean, and that is the difference that last corner makes. Oxford moving now up to 5th place as we finish the first lap of this race. Frisch still leads, Siege is up to 2nd. Meanwhile, Sean gets past Oxford as he runs deep into turn 1, and it is Navy 3rd, Crazy Legs 4th, Sean 5th, Oxford 6th, Mays 7th, Maximus 8th, UZ 9th, Andy in 10th, Barry in 11th, Alan K 12th, George in 13th, and Henny is running in P14. All 14 runners that started this race are still currently running in it.
Fantastic opening lap. Fantastic opening lap. Probably one of the cleanest that I've seen all season, in fact. And I've got to say, Maximus has gained a lot of positions. 6 positions gained from the back of the grid. And he's now trying to challenge Mays for that 7th place. In the meantime, Siege did get that great jump. He's right on the back of Afri. Could be seen overtake down into turn 12 as the yellow flag in sector 2. George has spun round. Afri, though, is under attack now from Siege, running down the straight into turn 12. Can Siege try and go for the move? I think he might just back off this, to be honest. And he does. He just backs off. Doesn't want to risk anything. Something has happened further down. Has Andy just dropped there at turn 11?
Well, we're looking just at the moment between Sean and Crazy Legs. Sean gets the move done, and Oxford slips his way through as well. Move not done yet between those two, as he's on the outside for turn 30. But Crazy Legs get a little bit onto the curb, compromises his exit, and Oxford sticks it round the outside and moves up a position. He's now up to 5th place, with Maximus now right on the back of Mays, as we're making our way now in towards this long right-hander through 16, through Verstappen, and then through turn 18 on the run towards turn 19. You can see there Maximus trying to make it move around the outside. He's off the track. He'll have the inside line for turn 19. No, he won't. He backs out of it, having to run wide. He does back out of the throttle. DRS is now online, and now Siege, who's right now on the back of Frisch. How long will it be before Frisch, or how long can he hold on for? Can he hold on for the entire race? We'll have to find out. Siege, who is the champion of Season 4, already crowned this season, currently putting him under pressure. Maximus going for a move down the inside of Mays, then into turn 1, and now he gets that move done. Maximus is on a complete charge tonight.
He is absolutely flying round here, is Maximus here at Corsa, at Circuit of the Americas. And Maximus now at the P7, just catching the curve slightly there through the S section. That was at turn 5, I think. Gomez is coming through just in behind him, 4/10 off. Oxford having a great debut, by the way, right on the back of Sean. These two were very close in a little practice lobby that we ran before, trying them out. And Oxford really showing what he can do here. He's trying to muster up the effort to come under attack now on Sean. And we'll have DRS running down the straight. It's going to be very interesting to see if he can pull up a move here.
Yeah, just off the screen then, Andy doesn't even get his own Andy Campbell coveted. No penalties awarded. A barrier around then. Where is that? That's at turn, on the exit of turn 11. So
yeah,
that
drop
allows...
the back end completely.
Well, Alan Kay now moves up a position. Meanwhile, Oxford and Sean still battling down towards turn 12. Sean runs deep and onto the curb, and Oxford gets the move done there. And Sean then, who wanted to try and move up the inside into turn 13 there, just wasn't close enough, and that's a rare mistake from Sean. Then it drops him down to 5th place. Meanwhile, Crazy Legs running in 6th place at the moment, Yuzi running in 9th right behind Mays, and Alan Kay at the moment in the points at the moment. He'll be very happy with that right now. He's got Barry, Andy, Henny and George behind him, so I think he'll be having a really positive outlook on that one. And on the medium tyres, I think he's having a good stint there. Henny is around again at turn, he's got, that's turn 12 there, on the entrance at 13. He's got front wing damage there, so he's made contact with something or someone out there. So we'll have to, I'm sure we'll get a view
of that. Make contact with the wall.
Oh
my God. Jesus. Afri's just had a right moment coming out of turn 1. Siege just gaining the time back. Goodness me, I thought he was going to spin it.
Well, he keeps it under control then, but no doubt the heart rate will have been a bit raised there. We've still got a great battle for the lead of the race. We've also got a great battle for 4th place right now. There's about 3 or 4 cars involved in this train here. Maximus picks up a 3-second time penalty. As you can see there, that's 6 cars in the picture then, basically all trying to go for 4th place. Henny has come back to the pits to replace that front wing. Meanwhile then, we're riding on board with Siege then, as he gets into the slipstream of Frisch, and he will have DRS now. How powerful is the DRS on these F2 cars? Let's find out as we're now up to 6th gear on board with Siege as he makes his way now down towards turn 12, and you can see there he does gain on him on the final part of that straight, but it's just not enough.
If it was a 2 kilometres straight like India, like in Delhi, I think he would have gotten there, but that straight not long enough. And I think with the DRS zone, how it's placed, I think it doesn't really give the driver behind the chance for an overtake unless he's within about 2.5 tenths, which I think will have to be that little placement, that little marker where they've got to aim for. They've got to be within 2.5 tenths. I think Oxford and Sean going side by side, and he's got the move done. What a move!
Yeah, that's Oxford there defending from Sean, so he did a really good job there. However, he's under real pressure now as we head towards turn 19. Oxford defending the inside line, might get a compromised exit on towards turn 20. And I think, is that Oxford coming into the pits? It is. So Oxford has had enough of those tyres. He'll now go on to the mediums surely to the end of the race. Meanwhile then, Maximus, who's on a charge, has now got Crazy Legs in his sights as we head up towards turn 1. We've got Andy as well, trying to chase down Barry as we head out of the final corner and on towards the start finish straight. Commentator, now racing driver, as we make our way up towards turn 1, up the inside in towards turn 1 with the help of the DRS then, and cuts off the apex. Barry could have a go back here down the hill on the outside heading into turn 2, but no, Andy has the inside line. I don't know, Barry's still going to go for it though, through turn 3 and then through turn 4 and 5, and I think Andy's just about got that move done. But I'll tell you what, Barry's not done with that battle just yet.
Yeah, Barry not done at all. Wants to give Andy a bit of a hard time. He'd be probably trying to say to him, get back in the commentary box where you belong, to be honest. But he's doing a great job, Andy, out in front. Old man Barry just in behind him, 5 tenths off. Of course, they're both on differing strategies. Super soft for Andy. Barry on the medium compounded tyre, so he's going to be going a lot deeper into this race. Very interesting though how Oxford has pitted in for sets of mediums. I think that's a bit of an early stop, as Barry just needed to lose it out of turn 11 there.
Well, what that does mean for Oxford is that he has clear air, and in a race like this where you're so compact with other racers out there, he's probably thought, well, the best option for me is to just have a little bit of clear air, have the track to myself, and now I can set my own lap times at my own pace.
Yeah, George is round in the middle sector there. That's what the yellow flags are for, just to lead to that. Very close for the battle for the lead though.
As we make our way around the final corner and on towards the start-finish straight. Siege is a lot closer to Frisch than he has been, especially on the start-finish straight as we make our way up towards turn 1. I don't think he'll have the opportunity to go for a move then on towards the braking zone now, and he won't, but he's got to get the S section right. This is where he's not been quite so strong in these last couple of laps, and George is now out of the race then, and I wonder if that's a retirement on track or whether he's just lost it somewhere out on track. However, Siege here is still on the back of Frisch then. We're making our way through this S section now, and it was somewhere in that first S section actually. I think that's what Chambers was trying to tell me.
Yeah, he was just losing the back end. The tyres completely and utterly shot, and he couldn't get control of the car back. And he's, I think he's done the right thing there to retire the car. And Jeffrey had the same problem as well in that first sector, and he is probably going to get lapped soon, I would think, by Afri and Siege. And again, Siege not close enough, running down the straight.
Riding on board then with Maximus, as he's quite close to the back of Crazy Legs. He might even get a little bit of a double toe here from Sean and Crazy Legs ahead of him. But you see there, the exit of turn 11 is crucial. You can see how far Maximus is now back from Crazy Legs. It's half a second. Crazy Legs here has got a really good car down the straight, or at least to get away from the car behind, even with DRS. Sean running deep again into turn 12. Crazy Legs sees the opportunity. Now it's going to go around the outside at turn 13. Nothing doing there, but I tell you what, Maximus is now trying to gain the advantage. Sean loses the back end through turn 14, and now on towards turn 15 now. That is Crazy Legs up the inside. He leaves Sean the room, but gets the better exit, and Crazy Legs, a little bit of contact there between Maximus and Sean, but Maximus has got ahead then, and Crazy Legs with a lovely move round the outside. Maximus took full advantage, and in the space of a couple of corners, Sean is down to P6.
Yeah, Sean just losing the tyres, I think, a little bit. Crazy Legs and Maximus taking maximum opportunity. Maximus is up the inside of the final corner, and I think it's going to be side by side running up the hill here, down towards turn 1. It is literally neck and neck between Crazy Legs and Maximus, and I think Maximus just going to hold this inside line and get the move. I think he Crazy Legs respecting him, and he gets the move done. Maximus up to P4. Yes, he's there. He's up to P4. Great move.
Yeah, man on a charge, and he proves that as well. Now up to 4th place. Meanwhile, off the screen then, Andy's got away past Alan Kay. That's for 9th place. Alan Kay, though, on the medium tyre, so I don't think he put up too much of a battle for Andy behind him because he realised they were on differing strategies. Lap 7 of this Grand Prix here in TTL F2 here in Austin. Frisch leads from Siege. It's Navy in 3rd, Maximus 4th, Crazy Legs in 5th. Then it's Sean, Mays, Yuzi, Andy, Alan Kay, Barry, Oxford and Henny as Alan Kay picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Ooh.
Crazy Legs trying a move down the inside in towards turn 11, but he might find he gets a little bit less exit speed. The wheels will want to spin up. However, look how close now Crazy Legs is to the back of Maximus. We've seen already Crazy Legs' car is quite good in a straight line. Down now towards turn 12 along the inside, and even before the braking zone he is ahead. Can he get the car stopped in time? Yes, he can, and really parks it on the apex. No way through for Maximus, or so we think. Down towards turn 13, Maximus tries to move up the inside and gets the move done before 14. Crazy Legs loosen the back end slightly through 14 and actually backs out of the move on the entrance into 15. So it's a bit of a carbon copy what happened to Sean there, pretty much exactly the same. And Crazy Legs now is down to 6th place. He's got Mays and Yuzi for close company behind him.
Yeah, very, very tricky there. Sean has gone past Crazy Legs as well and all of that as a result of him dropping off. The Sean is now up to P5, Crazy Legs P6. But look at Mays and Uzi in behind. This 5-car train, whatever you want to call it, is going to get going. And I think Uzi is right on the back. And I think Alan Kay has got a move done there. I think Andy might have just lost it out the triple right-hander. Uzi right on the back of Mays, though, running up towards turn 1. Gonna commit it down the inside. Great move, fantastic. So, oh, just forced him off track. Oh.
I saw the evolution there of that move through James's commentary alone. I think Yuzi in the end backed out of it, and Mays backed out of it as well. A little bit of a miscommunication because Yuzi's just missed out that corner completely. Gets himself a 5-second penalty. Now that's not a stop-go penalty. That's a penalty that has to be added to the end of his race. So he can't even serve that penalty.
That is a shame. That 5-second penalty, I don't think should have been given, to be honest. Mays just parked it on the apex. Just, as you say, a bit of a miscommunication between them both. Yellow flag in Sector 3, I think it is... That's nobody.
Well, that's strange.
Non-existent. Yeah, non-existent yellow flags there. But as I was saying, Sean's just lost a little bit of time to Maximus, who was right behind him coming down towards turn 11, and he's just dropped off all of a sudden. I think he must have dropped the back end and again runs deep through to turn 12. That is going to be his Achilles heel here tonight, that turn 12.
Yeah, and it just has cost him a couple of positions before, as we see Henny back into the pits and gets a 3-second time penalty. And well, I think that's on the entrance of pit lane, and I can understand why he's retired the car, because that is such a harsh penalty. If you take pit lane slightly wrong, you get yourself a 3-second time penalty. That's added to the end of your race. You can't appeal that either, because you can't appeal 3-second penalties in TTL F2. So I can understand why he's retired the car, but you know, we're now down to 12 runners. Obviously only the top 10 score points. It's worth staying in this race no matter what happens.
Yeah, it is, definitely. I think they've got to stay in no matter what. I think we've seen plenty of times this season that has to be the case. Siege right on the back of Afri, though, for the battle for the lead. 0.5 of a second. This gap has just honestly stabilised from flagfall. It really has. Siege is only 0.6 off him, and that has stayed quite minute for, I would say, 9 laps. I don't think Siege is going to get past him anytime soon either.
Yeah, it's going to be frustrating for Siege. Obviously, he's wrapped up the title already, but any battle he comes across on track, he wants to win. And now heading down towards turn 12 as Andy picks up another 3-second time penalty. Again, I think Siege is just playing the long game here. He's just trying to see if he can put Frisch under a bit of pressure, but so far so good for Frisch on this Austin track. That's no doubt quite hot out there, so the tyres will be in a little bit of grief at the moment. However, Frisch holding on, and of course he hasn't had a win this season just yet. Siege looking for win number 4 this season. Who can hold their nerve long enough. They seem to be in a league of their own at the moment. Navy is in third place, 9.1 seconds behind, but it's worth noting that he's on the medium tyre, so I think he's having a fantastic stint at the moment. He's got clear air behind him, clear air in front of him. He can set whatever lap times he wants there. No battling, no losing time. It's worth seeing what his second stint will be like then, because he should be right up there towards the end.
It should be fantastic to see what he's going to be doing in this race. 9.2 seconds off Siege at the minute, only 9.5 seconds off the lead. In free air, relatively free air, he's going to be going pretty deep into this race as well. I think Navy is probably going to be the secret one to watch here tonight, as I think Uzi has spun coming into the pit lane.
He has indeed.
I think he's overcooked that on the brakes.
And he got himself a warning there for corner cutting. I think it's a little bit harsh from the stewards, but they have shown him the black and white flag. How controversial has that been?
That was very controversial. I think he honestly just overcooked himself on the brakes. He's served up a stop go as well in the pit lane, and he's just getting onto, well, I think he served up a stop go. Did he? Was that just my eyesight?
I don't think he did, because he would have been held there a lot longer if he did serve it. Maybe in F2 there's no such thing as a stop go penalty. Maybe you just get 5 seconds added to the end of your race. So that's that then for Uzi. So who will be added to the end of this race, that 5 seconds. Meanwhile, Sean and Crazy Legs battling away then. This is the battle for 5th place as Crazy Legs looks to get into the slipstream of Sean ahead of him with the DRS wide open. I've already seen Crazy Legs make a move down towards turn 12, and it's so slippery, that car from Crazy Legs in a straight line and heading now down towards turn 12, and Sean actually says, you know what, I'm having that position back. Under braking, gets back past Crazy Legs. Now that was a great move.
He must have broke about 20 yards later than Crazy Legs there. That was utterly brilliant. I thought honestly he was going to go back in into the back of them. That's why you probably heard my reaction initially. I was thinking there's going to be a crash here, but Sean, beautifully done. Crazy Legs giving him the respect as well, just in case he overcooked it and then tried to come back around the outside into turn 13. But tell you what, brilliant move that by Sean. He's up to P5. Brilliant.
Absolutely.
And he's into the pits.
And Sean is into the pits after that. Maybe he took those tyres one battle too many, or maybe this is a planned and scheduled stop. What's for sure is that Sean is into the pits, and the omen where he ends up in a race of his own has certainly not been true today. He's been well amongst the battles then, as we've also got, that's Maze coming into the pits, and of course the reduced crew that can work on the car. Away goes Sean eventually, and there he goes. Yeah, only about 6 people on the crew can actually work on the car at any one time, so it's a lot longer in the pit lane, a lot longer in the pit box as well. But for most drivers you only have to stay there once, so in essence it's not so bad in the end. Watch out for Oxford then, because he pitted, remember, very early in this race. Those tyres are already 6 laps old, so towards the end of the race he might be struggling. But at the moment he's leading the medium stint runners who are on their second stint.
As well as that, I think, as Uzi has just retired from the race, Oxford has undercut Sean by a good 5 seconds. Now that was because of his early pit stop, but just watch out for that, because I think that might just come back to bite him a little bit. But it might mean he's on the super softs at the end, and I'm not sure what happened with Uzi, yellow flag in sector 3. I think he must have lost it somewhere out on track.
Barry here, with 21 laps to go, is closing in on Andy ahead of him. This is the Chiru car closing in on the ART car. Old man Barry does have a set of super soft tyres. Meanwhile, Andy has a set of medium tyres. Race leader, in fact race leaders, Frisch and Siege, come into the pits then at the same time. And looks like they're going on to their second stint. And that will get them to the end of the race. We'll keep an eye on that battle. Meanwhile, Andy gets a great exit out of turn 11 and he'll be able to stay ahead of Barry. But Navy then, that means he will take the lead of the race then. Siege is just in the pit box now, getting serviced. Now he's away. Such a long time in this pit lane. However, where will they rejoin? Maximus, Crazy Legs come into the pit. So Alan Kay, meanwhile, is making his way around turn 19. And there goes Frisch then. There goes Siege. They rejoin. Only one position down. It's Navy ahead of them at the moment. So Frisch then rejoins in second place. Siege actually has dropped around about 1.2 seconds just in that pit stop alone. Whether he was held up or whether the crew just weren't as quick as Frisch's. Frisch 1.8 seconds ahead. Oxford then jumps Maximus and Crazy Legs in the pit lane, only just though, as Maximus rejoins in 6th place, Crazy Legs in 7th. There is Sean then, who's seeing Crazy Legs take turn 1. Sean has to go round the outside. He'll be on the inside for turn 2. They're going to be side by side until Crazy Legs backs out of it. And Sean, braver of the two, takes the racing line and takes 7th place just from that early stop. And that was important because it would have taken a couple of laps for Crazy Legs' tyre to actually warm up, whereas Sean's here are almost up to temperature. So that was important. He had to get ahead, and he'll be able to enjoy a lap here where he should be quicker than Crazy Legs just on tyre temperatures alone. Lap 12 then, the only drivers we've yet to see stop this race are Navy, who's currently leading this race, and Alan Kay, who's currently running in 4th place. These two opted to go for the medium tyres to start this race, and so far so good on their stints.
So far so good for Navy. 18.3 seconds to Frisch at the minute. Looking at it as Barry has left the session. I think there's been a bit of a disconnect there, to be honest. That's a shame. He was right on the back of Andy as well.
He was, yeah, absolutely. But let's hope he can rejoin this session and this race. On lap 13 here, we've got Maximus.
Oh!
And that's Oxford off just before turn 15. And he gets himself a 3-second time penalty as well. So he'll pull off to the side then and let some cars through. So he will rejoin back in 8th place. In fact, 9th place, because that's Mays who's just gone through. So 9th place now for Oxford on those medium tyres. Now, they shouldn't be that worn at this moment in time. 7 laps old is not that old for these medium tyres. But, yeah, whatever happened, he just lost it before turn 15. He was on his own as well, well ahead of the others. But, yeah, he comes into the pit lane now. So something's not right for Oxford there as he comes back into the pit lane. I wonder what tyres he's going to put on. Will he put on a set of mediums? It's the only 2 tyres we have are Super Soft and the mediums. Let's see what tyres are ready. Super Softs. The Red Bull Super Softs are ready then for Oxford. So what strategy is this then from the Charoux lads?
This is very strange. And Old Man Barry, his AI, has just came into the pits as well. So they're going to have to be... they're going to have to be literally as quick as a flash. Like, quite literally as quick as a flash there. And I think that must have took about 2 seconds to get the tyres and to get the AI car back out. That was unbelievable. But yeah, Oxford, not sure what happened with him. I have a feeling he might have dropped the back end at turn 13, where he's ended up on the grass. He's just had to avoid everyone, let everyone through, come out in some clear air, and think possibly about fastest lap, which he does get a point for, doesn't he?
Yeah, as long as they finish in the top 10, you get 1 point for the fastest lap of the race. Those points systems change next season, but more on that as we get it. The main source of news is James there, and well, we won't have that till next week. We won't stop till...
If I can elaborate a little bit more. Fastest laps will be applying for the top 10 in both sprint and feature races next season. So that's an exclusive there.
Well, so there you have it then. So at this moment in time then, it is Frisch who holds that fastest lap of the race. He's currently 16.5 seconds behind Navy as we are on to the 14th lap now. Siege just seems to be dropping away a little bit. Maybe doesn't quite have the pace yet on those medium tyres. Either that, or he's driving to a delta and Frisch is absolutely going for it to try and catch Navy ahead of him.
I think Siege might just be trying to overpace himself through the corners. The S section especially, Frisch just taking it nice and steady. Siege just being a bit aggressive and just being a bit more macho. But I'm trying to find the right word here. So,
I'll let you
just
suffer.
trying to be... just trying to be a bit more aggressive into the corners. And I think overall that's cost him time. 2.7 seconds. That was 2.4 before the S section. That really comes to show he's just over-aggressively maybe driving a bit and not conserving the tyres as what he would like. After he just began to pull away, and he's catching Navy as well, so this is going to be very interesting. I think Navy, when he pits, he's going to be around 12 seconds behind Siege. That's a prediction I'm making. And Alan Kay now should be under pressure from Maximus very soon indeed.
Yeah, 1.1 is the gap between them right now. We're expecting the medium tyre runners to pit anywhere from lap 20 to 22. that's when we're expecting those medium tyre runners to pit in. However, Maximus right now is right on the back of Alan Kay as we make our way in towards 13 and then through 14. A little bit of a lock-up on entry from Alan Kay there as we now head towards turn 15. You can see Maximus on the fresher tyres here really wants to get the most out of them. Fastest lap of the race, Frisch, 150.7 as we now ride on board with Maximus through the long right-hander over the Verstappen curve, then through turn 18. And on towards the double left-hander of 19 and 20. I think Maximus is just going to bide his time here and wait for the right opportunity as we now head down towards turn 20. He's got the DRS straight and turn 1. He's not going to wait around for it though as Alan Kay leaves him in the room through turn 20. And Maximus here wanted to go back to the slipstream, realised he wasn't going to get there. And now with the DRS, it's now side by side with Alan Kay up the hill towards turn 1. Job done for Maximus. He's now up to 4th place.
Yeah, great respect shown between both of them there. Maximus clearly the quicker driver. Alan Kay, though, however, coming back up the inside with a hell of a move. Brilliant stuff. He comes back at him from turn 2. Maximus had absolutely no chance there. And Alan Kay taking it a lot more aggressively than Maximus. That is probably one of the best pieces of driving I've seen tonight. That was brilliant.
Yeah, Maximus just seemed to overdrive the corner slightly and Alan Kay took full advantage there. They come over the crest through turn 10 and then down towards turn 11, but maybe this is where Maximus would rather be. Down towards turn 11 then, in the slipstream of Alan Kay with the DRS. Maybe this is what he would prefer. Right on the gearbox now of Alan Kay. DRS this time is wide open, a longer straight to use that DRS down towards turn 12. Let's see a little better camera angle. They give each other plenty of space on the run down towards turn 12. And Maximus this time gets the move done. Can he slow down enough before the corner? Yes, he can. This time he stays ahead after making the move stick. So Maximus then up to 4th place. Next, Alan Kay has to defend from is Sean. But something inside is telling me that Alan Kay is not going to make these battles too difficult. He's on 14 lap old medium tyres. He's on a different strategy from the other drivers. And at this point, does he battle other drivers and risk losing that tyre performance? Or does he stick to his own delta and see what he can do at the end of the race?
I think in his position, he's got to stick to his own delta at this stage. He's got to worry about the likes of Andy and Oxford further down the field when he does decide to come into the pit. It's going to be really interesting to see how he develops this with Sean. Sean now catching him, of course, on 10-lap fresher tyres, 1.3 seconds, and taking massive amounts of time out of him per lap. I think Alan Kay, best thing to do will be just to, I don't know, oh, he's just overshot the corner there at turn 1, and this could give Sean that little bit of a chance to get closer. But yeah, Alan Kay, I don't think he needs to fight these battles, but we do love a good battle, don't we?
We do.
Oh, Andy's out.
Andy's out of the race. Now, where is that? We're right on board with Oxford to see where that is. Now, we're running on board now with Oxford through
final
turn
corner.
20. It is the final corner. He's dropped it. He's probably taken too much curb, and that is the end of Andy's day.
That's a strange one. I think he's, yeah, as you say, he's probably caught too much curb on that inside. He's trying to fight the car to the right-hand side and then lost it into the pit wall. Probably at around 40, 50 mile an hour, I would imagine, and that's his race done, sadly. It does, however, as I'm just watching the ball with Sean, he's right on the back of Alan Kay. That is a shame for Andy, I think. And I think, yeah, that's all that needs to be said, really.
Well, here is Sean then, up the inside of Alan Kay, down towards turn 12. And Sean there will have to get the car slowed down in time. It's a corner he struggled with over the previous couple of laps, but not this time. And he gets the move done. Up to 5th place he goes. And Alan Kay there, you could see he was having a good battle with him down the straight, then down towards that braking zone of turn 12. But in the end, with the DRS and with fresher tyres, it was only going to be one victory in that one. Sean moves up to 5th place. But Alan Kay at the moment, now the next car behind him is Crazy Legs. And he is 4.4 seconds behind.
Oh, Navy spun! Navy spun in the S section, just out of sector 1.
And he's got front wing damage.
Lost that.
He's got front wing damage as well. So what was going to be a great long stint focusing on him, Navy at the moment, driver error that could have been. I don't think there was anyone else around him at all. He was in his clear air, all on his own, but he's lost the back end. And so now the important thing is, what does he do? Does he stay out with a damaged front wing? Or does he pit in and take the bullet and put on a set of superstar tyres earlier than he wanted? The thing is, for Navy now, is there is Frisch right in the distance in the same camera shot now, and you can see Navy's really struggling with this car at the moment. So I think we're expecting him to come into the pits and putting on those super soft tyres. He will struggle towards the end of this race here, and Frisch will be breathing a huge sigh of relief as he's seeing that gap come down and down rather rapidly. 4.8 seconds now on the entrance in towards turn 15 there. But Navy, look at this. This is where he's really going to struggle here. You can see so much effort to keep that car in check, really, as we head in towards turn 19. And now, will he come into the pits? Yes. Yeah. Yes, he will. So into the pits Navy comes, and he'll put on a set of super soft tyres. What that means is then Frisch will take the lead of the US Grand Prix here in TTL F2. Navy here will be absolutely gutted with that one. I think he'll be saying a couple of choice words inside that lid of his, inside that cockpit. However, he's got to let the team do the work now with 13 laps to go.
Yep, that's a set of super softs going on as well from no surprise there. He's got to try and bite the bullet and try and gain on these two ahead. Afri and Siege, of course, Afri is in that championship battle with him. So this is going to be interesting to see. And I think he's going to be jumped here by Maximus and Sean possibly as well. Coming out of the pits, he's going to be behind Maximus for sure. Is he going to be behind Sean? Yes, he is. Just about. It's going to be side by side.
It is going to be slightly side by side then, as Navy has the inside line into turn 1. And look at this then. Sean there just couldn't quite make that stick. He saw the advantage. He saw the gap there, but he couldn't quite take advantage. And Navy then rejoins in 4th place. Now, where in his last stint he wanted to push and push like mad, he's going to have to rethink that strategy. Because, of course, he'll have to make these tyres last to the end of the race, which, to correct myself, is actually 14 laps. It's 13 and a half to go. So, we haven't seen those tyres. Well, we have seen those tyres run that distance. But, you know, you're looking at puncture territory with 14, 15 laps on those tyres.
Yeah, I think Navy, what he's got to do, he's got to try and maintain a delta at this point. Of course, he's just came out of the pits. Those tyres are going to be very, very cold. He's got to maintain a delta at this point. And then just start to work the tyres that little bit harder, say maybe 3 or 4 laps into this stint, he's got to try and work. And he's just going to try and maintain the delta. Not catch Maximus immediately, but just maintain it so it's within striking range of him to get a move. And looking at it, Navy is beginning to catch already, so he's not hanging about here.
He absolutely is not hanging about here. Mays, meanwhile, is starting to close in on Craterlex. 1.3 is the gap between them right now as they head towards turn 15. And in that case as well, Craterlex is actually closing into Alan Kay ahead of him. 2.2 is the gap between them. So the only driver left to stop and left to make their mandatory stop in this race is Alan Kay, currently running in 6th place right now. So it's a good stint from him. Oh, he runs deep into turn 19 though, locks up the front left. He'll have to carry on as Oxford is now out of the race.
Yeah. He was in the gravel there somewhere. I don't know where it was out on track. It was in sector 2. He was in the gravel. And that's all I can comment on that.
Well, 8 competitors now running in this race. Meanwhile, Navy is closing it on Maximus very quickly then as we head through 3, through 4, through turn 5, then towards turn 6. You can see Maximus under a little bit of pressure there to try and stay ahead. This is for position now. Both drivers have made their mandatory stop. Here we go then through turn 7, up the hill through turn 8, then over the crest of turn 9, through then the kink of turn 10. And I think Navy here is just waiting for that prime opportunity down towards turn 11. And he won't go for the move this time around because he knows he's got the DRS on the next straight. Much better line through turn 11 there. He'll get a much better exit than Maximus. Now he gets the slipstream and he'll get the DRS now. Over the crest they go on towards turn 12, that is. Side by side then the two cars go as we make our way now down towards the braking zone. Navy looks like he's got that position then. Maximus has to go the long way around if he wants to try and stick it there, but no dice. Maximus gets the move, Navy gets the move done on Maximus. Meanwhile then Crazy Legs battling away with Alan Kay then, and Crazy Legs round the outside at turn 12. Alan Kay gave him all the room in the world there, but Crazy Legs, oh, Alan Kay locking up big time into 13 there, almost into the back of Crazy Legs, but collected it up. But Alan Kay there, just, well, it was a mixture. He wanted to battle, but he just didn't have the tyres to fight. And Crazy Legs moves up to 6th place. Now, I'm sort of thinking now's the time. Alan Kay's really struggling on those tyres. I think we're not too far away from seeing him pit in for a set of super soft tyres. Speaking of super soft tyres, Navy has just set the fastest lap of the race on those tyres. 49.7 from him is the latest fastest lap of this race. Alan Kay stayed out for another lap. And look at this, he's moved to the side. He's letting Mays through. Team orders in action here as Mays moves up to 7th place. What's important for Mays and Alan Kay right now? Okay, they're running 7th and 8th, but they're point scoring positions. That's the main thing. And Alan Kay's decided there's no point battling. You go through because I'm on 10 lap older tyres than you. And I've got to stop again.
Yeah, 59 points for Dams coming into this race as well. So Mays and Alan Kay, I think more worried about the points here tonight, trying to bump them up in the standings as much as possible. Of course, these two retained next season in Dams. That's another exclusive I'm bringing to you here tonight. Full of exclusives tonight, I am.
Lots of exclusives.
Yeah, I think lots of exclusives. Alan Kay, I think, doesn't want to fight. He's just going to maintain his own pace. He'll be coming in, I think, this lap for a possible fastest lap run with 11 laps to go. It makes sense. Afri, by the way, Siege, 3.8 seconds. That's stabilised roughly now.
Frisch has a little bit of a moment out of turn 20 to gather up the back end. However, we have 11 laps to go here in Austin, Texas, as Frisch makes his way up towards turn 1. It is Siege in 2nd place, Navy running in 3rd on those super soft tyres, Maximus currently running in 4th. It is Sean in 5th place, Crazy Legs in 6th with Mays in 7th. Alan Kay is running in 8th place. Barry's Ghost Car is running in 9th, which means that is a non-finishing position for Barry right now. If he finishes as the Ghost Car. 8 runners in this race. James as Navy sets yet another fast lap of the race. 48.7 from Navy. You've got to be careful though on those tyres. You can take all the performance and the life out of them very, very early on. He's 27.6 behind Siege. Is there a time where you just call it a day and say, you know what, I'm going to get these tyres to the end instead?
I think he's got to worry about more the battle behind, the gap behind to Maximus than he is in front of him, because he's never going to reach Afri and Siege. 27 seconds is impossible on those tyres to reach in, what, 10 laps? Those tyres will be gone in 3-4 laps, and then you're going to start talking about possible puncture territory towards the end. Navy's just got to worry about Maximus and behind, do enough to stay ahead of him, and just maintain to a delta. And I think that's what's going to be key for him. And I think that is also going to be key for him, because I think Afri's going to move, get me wrong on this, 12 points ahead coming into final race of the season. And I think Afri will be 2nd at the end of tonight as well, as it stands.
Well, we know me and Matt are a terrible combination. That's what we found out. However, it is Frisch who leads, it is Siege in 2nd, it is Navy in 3rd. Mays is trying to close into the back of Crazy Legs, but the gap keeps extending. Crazy Legs is putting in some good laps recently, currently running in 6th place, and he's extending that gap to himself and Mays at this moment in time. But I don't think Mays has had a final say in that one just yet. Watch this space for the battle for 6th place.
Yeah, Crazy Legs, just looking at his lap times, lapping around the mid-152s. Mays last time around, personal best 52.4. That was from Mays. So very nice laps indeed being set here. And I think Mays just possibly beginning to close in. Warmer tyres than Crazy Legs at this stage. But looking at it, I think it's just going to stabilise as it is. 2.9 seconds. Unless he makes a mistake, I think I can see Crazy Legs finishing ahead of Mays in this race.
Well, we do have now 10 laps to go as Crazy Legs actually gets a little bit wrong out of the final corner and has to go left in order to recover the car. Alan Kay then, the final driver to make their mandatory stop, is now into the pits. On will go a set of super soft tyres and he'll be out to go for the fastest lap of the race. It's going to be a tough order for him because the fastest lap of the race right now is set by Navy. It's a 148.7. He's the only driver, Navy, to be in the 140s, let alone the 148s.
Yeah, very impressive lap time from him, and he's maintaining that pace. He is closing the two leaders down, but as I say, 27 seconds is impossible. 24 seconds now. 25 seconds, pretty much, roughly. Trying to get my numbers right here.
You're almost as bad as Matt and me.
Yeah, almost as bad. Almost as bad. Not too bad, though.
No one could be as bad.
Maybe... Yeah, Navy closing that gap though to Siege, but it's impossible to reach. He's got to worry about Maximus behind him. And I think with no battles heading on, I'll give you a penalties update.
Ooh, treat us to a penalties update. Yes, please.
Afri has got 2 warnings, no penalties. Siege is the same, 2 warnings, no penalties. Navy has got a penalty, with Maximus having plenty of warnings, goodness me, and 2 penalties, so 6 seconds worth of penalties there for him. Sean with 2 penalties, so 6 seconds for him. Crazy Legs with a penalty, 3 seconds. Maze has not picked up a warning yet. Very nice stuff from him. And Alan Kay, the final runner in this race, has picked up 3 penalties. Plenty of warnings, but don't think we're going to be seeing many changes in terms of the penalty front here tonight.
As it stands, of course, anything can happen in these last 9 laps, and in most cases it usually does. I think the battle to be watching right now would be the battle between Navy and Maximus. Okay, Navy is extending that lead lap after lap, but at a certain crossover point, those medium tyres will be performing better than the super soft tyres. That's where Maximus needs to take advantage.
Yeah, I think more immediately though, May's beginning to close the gap to Crazy Legs. 2.4 seconds on making that out as. That's a gain of 0.6 over the last 2 or 3 laps for Mays. So really beginning to close them in. Maybe those lap pressure tyres and cooler temperatures now with the cloud cover beginning to work in his favour.
Well, we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. At this moment in time though, 2.2 is the gap between them right now. So yeah, Mace is really closing on this gap now. It was stable at around about 3 seconds, maybe 2.9 seconds. It's now down to 2.1. So yeah, Mace is definitely closing in on Crazy Legs. But we've already seen in this race so far, Crazy Legs has one slippery car, especially down the start-finish straight and the back straight down towards turn 12. You can see he extended the gap on that straight alone by 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, I think he's running a quicker setup than Mays at this stage. I think Crazy Legs having that. I think Mays though is better through the corners. He's got a corner setup on Crazy Legs, possibly more going for a straight line speed setup. But this is looking very interesting. And just to pick up on something that Andy has said, Andy just confirming in the chat by the way, saying that he binned it at the final corner. I took too much curb on the outside of the corner, which was interesting.
Yeah, very interesting there. And I think that's exactly what I said, James.
Ooh! After a 3 second time penalty out in front. That was a turn 10.
So 3 second time penalty then for Frisch. At the moment he's leading by 5, so it's not a huge concern right now. However, if Siege gets notified by his engineer, then that race will change completely.
Yeah, something happens to Frisch as well. If he takes too much curb on one of the corners, possibly, just could bring Siege back into this. 5 seconds the gap. Hasn't really gained that much over the last 6 or 7 laps or so, and not really making an impression, I say, Siege, but his championship is already won. And I think Afri and Siege and everyone else running around still out on track, wanting to put on a show, of course, for next season. And it will be interesting to see how those guys cope next season as well.
Still 5 seconds here, the gap between them. As you see, Siege still trying to close in on that gap. We now have 8 laps to go, soon to be 7, and there it is, 7 laps to go here in Austin, Texas, as Frisch makes his way up towards the first corner. He is extending that gap bit by bit. The gap's now 5.2 seconds, or it was 5.2 seconds, as they went across the start-finish line, which means Frisch was 2 tenths up on that last lap from Siege. So Siege here has got to try and pull out a performance out of the bag if he wants to try and reduce this gap, because he doesn't have to reduce this gap by 5 seconds now. He just has to reduce it to under 3 seconds and he'll have a shot of a race win.
As long as he's got the tyres underneath him, I think he could do it, you know. 5.2 seconds, 2 seconds to gain. He's got to be quicker through the corners than Afri, and I think he can do that. In the meantime, Crazy Legs has gone into AI and May is right on the back of him. What on earth's happened here?
I'm not too sure. Maybe a controller error or a controller whatchamacallit, but yeah, Crazy Legs has an AI now. He's back, and yeah, that to me is something. Yeah, that to me is a controller error. through the final couple of corners, and Crazy Legs has decided to let Maze through because of it. So a bit of a bizarre one there, but yeah, looked to me like there was some sort of controller running out of battery moment there.
Yeah, I have a feeling he's probably had a spare controller which has got probably a bar of battery left in. Hopefully you can get to the end of the race with that bar. But yeah, as you say, controller moment, I think. I couldn't see it any other way. But Crazy Legs now, knowing that has happened, he's right on the back of Maze and he's beginning to attack. And this is providing a battle for everyone that is viewing and for us in the commentary box as well.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win.
Absolutely. Well, Crazy Legs, we know, is quick on these straights. He'll have some DRS to attack Maze down towards turn 12. Now, let's see how this battle goes along. Two drivers who have immense respect for each other out on the track. But you can see there, Maze this time getting the better exit out of turn 11. Then the DRS kicks in. And there you can see, just on the left-hand side, how quickly that gap is closing down. It's almost a tenth per mini-sector. That's how quick Crazy Legs' car is in a straight line. Bit of a lock-up, though, into turn 12. So nothing doing, but you can see there, Crazy Legs in a straight line is closing that gap rapidly. So the place for Maze to extend that gap is through the corners, and he's got to realise that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, he does have to realise that sooner rather than later. I'm right on board with Crazy Legs. He is short-shifting through the corners as well. So there's definitely something amiss here with his performance. And has he gone back into AI? Because he's losing the time once again. It's strange.
It is strange. I think this is to do with battery. There's no other thing for it. I think the controller battery is on its last legs, and every time the controller just says no more, it puts him into AI mode. And what could have been a fantastic race for Crazy Legs, he was up in 5th place at one point. However, this latest trouble here is just going to be, he'll be damning his own luck at this moment in time. He carried that great form over last time out into F1, got himself a good haul of points in TTL F1 last time out, and he'll still get himself a good haul of points this time around, but he'll be very frustrated, and he's actually retired. He retires altogether. Well, that must be to do with the controller. I think he thinks he can't get that car to the end, or if he can, he risks finishing as a ghost car, therefore scoring no points. So that's Crazy Legs then out of this race, and he parks it up, and that has got to be down to the battery in his controller. Such a shame to see Crazy Legs retire from such a great point scoring position.
He was looking so good as well out on track. 7th, maintaining that position from the start. As you said, he was 5th at one stage in the race. It is such a shame that something has happened to him. I can only lead to believe it is his controller, but you never know with life. There could be kids running around in the background causing all sorts of chaos. You never know what could have happened.
You never know. The one thing we for sure, and that we do know, is that Crazy Legs is now out of the US Grand Prix. That leaves us with 7 runners to get to the checkered flag, and for the Dams boys that means another position for them and an extra haul of points that maybe they weren't expecting whatsoever. Frisch then has extended that gap between himself and Siege to 6 seconds now, and the gap between Navy and Maximus is now 16 seconds.
16 seconds to, yeah, Navy, as you say. Just been sent a video as well. Oxford, who I actually know, I've just realised who it actually is, has been streaming this race, so he has just sent that to me, and I'll have a look at that later on. But Siege, 5.9 seconds to Afri, and Afri has gained that gap, obviously. Yeah, it's looking good for Afri out in front.
Looking good. 5.9 at the moment. Of course, though, he's got to keep it away from those curves. Now, I wonder how many warnings is he on as we head towards the closer stages here in the US. He's already got
what was that?
Well, he's got a 3-second time penalty. He's got to be careful about his warnings, and I'm wondering how many warnings he's got towards the end of this race.
Let me have a check. Let me have a check for you. Afri has got 3 warnings plus his penalty on that same lap as well. He's only got 3 warnings, but he hasn't had any in the last 3 laps, which I think is going to serve him just as well.
Well, I think it will. Lap 28 here, we have, correct me if I'm wrong, 4 laps to go. Yep. 3 and a bit if you're picky. And it is Frisch who leads, who's looking for his first race win in TTL F2. And what a moment it will be. Pole position for Frisch. may not be fastest lap, so he may not complete the perfect race day. However, I think I'd be mightily pleased with his performance right now, and he just needs to get that car to the checkered flag.
Afri has really came about himself here tonight, with the exception of having Lyronics in and Honey as well. I think Afri, this is his chance to lay down that marker for next season. His championship battle might be just over and done with. I think he's going to be second at the end of tonight as well, by about 12 points as it stands. Of course, it can all change still, but it's going to be really, really interesting to see how Afri takes this into next week in Abu Dhabi, and more importantly, I think, into next season, where he should be one of the leading contenders for the title.
One driver to pick out as well, if we have driver of the day, is Maximus, up 10 places. He's running in 4th place. His first stint, he was overtaking everybody like it was nothing. No effort to him whatsoever. He finds himself 17 seconds behind Navy, although Navy was on that alternate strategy. He was always going to be quick on that final stint, but 10 places up from his starting position. That's a fantastic performance from Maximus, and it just makes me wonder how good his day could have been if he qualified higher up the order.
I think if he qualified high up the order, we could have been seeing him probably in the same position as he is now in 4th, but a lot closer to that lead battle between Afri, Siege and Navy. I know it's all spread out like a washing line at the minute, but Maximus has done a remarkable job. He's just kept himself to himself here tonight. He's played the tactical game. The tactical game has worked. People around him have fell off the cliff and have retired out the race. This is, honestly, driver of the day performance for me. Maximus gets it by a mile.
He's going to get into the checkered flag first, and his battle between himself and Sean is teetering on 10 seconds exactly. With 2 laps to go, it's going to be very difficult for Sean to close in on that gap. Meanwhile, Frisch, through Sector 1, has just gone a tenth faster than his own personal best, so even in these latter stages, he's still going for it. He still wants this win. The gap is now 6.5 seconds between himself and Siege as he heads now down towards turn 12. I don't like the look of those clouds though, James, I have to say. Hopefully it stays dry.
It's going to be fine. We're going to get to the end, no rain in sight here in America, but you never know, thunderstorm could blow up from absolutely anywhere, especially because we're in Texas as well.
When it rains in Texas, I hear it pours.
It does. It really does. It's part of the panhandle as well, where there's tornadic activity, let's just say. Hopefully we won't see a tornado here tonight. Don't think we will.
Well, let's hope not. I mean, Tornado Alley is just around the corner, really. But Frisch then will start the penultimate lap of this race then in the lead. 6.9 is now the gap. So he's really going for it right now. Up towards turn 1 he goes. And yeah, Frisch from pole position hasn't obviously led the whole way because of pit stops. However, he's done the next best thing and led every lap he possibly can. Battle with Siege was absolutely brilliant because he was able to hold off. He's got the correct setup, he's got the right setup to keep him fast on the straights and fast through the corners, so much so that he's still extending that gap to himself and Siege in these closing stages of this race. So with 2 laps to go then, 1 and a bit if you're picky, it's Frisch who leads, that is Siege in second, Navy in third. These two have swapped positions, Siege and Navy, from their qualifying positions. Siege has gone up a position, Navy down 1. Maximus up 10 places, he's in 4th place. Sean is now in 5th place, 10.7 there. He was closing on Maximus a lap ago, but that hasn't worked for him this time around on this lap. May's then running in 6th place, and then Alan Kay is the last of the runners right now. He's in 7th place, and just keeping it on the track there for Alan Kay has done himself wonders. Frisch then heading down towards turn 12 for the penultimate time.
Both Afri and Siege last lap around, both setting personal best laps. 49.2 for Afri, 49.9 for Siege. So both breaking into the 49s for Afri's 3rd time in the race, Siege with his 1st time in the race in the 49s. And I saw him just out of turn 11 have a massive half spin, which has really cost him a lot of time now. It's now 8 seconds that gap, and I don't think he's been that confident. Just wants to maintain those tyres to the end. Well, here is Frisch then, who starts his final lap of the race then.
and gets into the 49s in doing so, making his way now up towards turn 1. What a moment this will be for Frisch then, as he makes his way through turn 1. Down the hill he goes, through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're just counting up as you go through this S section here. It just seems like it never ends. But when you do get to the end of it, you're rewarded with a nice long back straight down towards turn 12. Frisch is down 1/10 of a second through the first sector on his personal best. I don't think he'll care too much about that because Siege is now 8 seconds back at this moment in time. Frisch looking very comfortable as he makes his way through turn 10 and on the way down towards turn 11 now. And just about half a lap to go, maybe a little bit more than that, as he makes his way on towards the back straight. I wonder if he'll get the DRS from Alenka. Alenka looks a bit too far ahead. There goes Frisch. There's Siege just exiting turn 11 there. So that is the distance between the two of them. That's what 8 seconds looks like in F2. It looks a lot closer than it does in F1, that's for sure. However, that is 8 seconds there. And Frisch looking very comfortable. Look at this helicopter cam then through 13 and 14 down towards the braking zone and the left-hander of turn 15 now. Only a couple of corners to go now for Frisch as he's got Alan Kay right ahead of him here, locking up into 15. He'll pull to one side as now Frisch goes through 16, through Verstappen corner. Then it's through turn 18 now. Only 2 more corners to go for Frisch before he's able to claim his first race win in F2. Now coming towards turn 20, only that 3-second time penalty that's really been all he's done wrong today. Frisch then makes his way towards the start-finish line. Frisch wins in Austin. Afri Frisch claims his first ever win in TTL F2. What a moment for him, and what a drive. Siege then finishing in 2nd place with Navy there, making his way now in towards turn, I believe that was turn 16. Now into 16, through 17, 18, and then coming towards the final 2 corners. Well, he pitted a lot earlier than he might have wanted to. He lost that front wing, which cost him a lot more time than he wanted to. But fair play to Navy. He's got himself to the end, and he finishes in 3rd place. Could have been a lot closer to the top 2, but those super soft tyres will have gone off the cliff towards the end. He gets a very respectable 3rd place, though, having started 2nd on the grid then. Well, Driver of the Day nominations, if there were to exist in F2, are definitely on the table here. In fact, they are on the table. Siege won it last time around. I have no doubt in my mind Maximus, with a great drive in 4th place, will be claiming that one. Of course, it is driver voted the Driver of the Day, so we'll be able to find out the results of that and see who the drivers thought had the best day of them all. Sean then will come across the line in 5th place. You can see the frustration there from Sean as he finishes in 6th place. Alan Kay there in 7th, a lap down on the leaders, which means Mays here will be the last person on the lead lap and finishing in 6th place. But your race winner today here in Austin for the first ever time this season and the first ever time here in TTL F2, Afri Frisch wins in the USA. What a moment for Afri Frisch as he claims his first race win in TTL F2. And could this be a sign of things to come for him in the future heading into season number 5? It will give him plenty of momentum, and it's just time for him now to enjoy this race win. He's totally and utterly deserved it. An absolutely brilliant drive from him, held off Siege in the opening stint and was able to pull away in the 2nd stint on those medium tyres. It all happened in that pit stop, where Siege just seemed to lose time in the pit box inexplicably. However, that being said, we move on now to the official, unofficial results. It is Frisch who claims the win here in Austin. Siege is in 2nd, Navy claims 3rd, and the fastest lap of the race there, which means he'll score 16 points, adding to his tally. It's Maximus in 4th, Sean in 5th with Mays 6th, and Alan Kay, the last of the finishes, in 7th place. Old Man Barry finished as a ghost car, which means his points do not count. Retirements, Crazy Legs, Oxford, Andy, Yusi, Henny, George. Quite a few retirements in this one. However, I have to say, James, that was a pretty interesting race, and what a great win for Afri Frisch, the German in the Trident, grabbing his first ever race win in TTL F2.
Opportunities come if you wait for them, and I think Afri has done exactly that tonight. Pure pillar-to-post victory. He was not even overtaken in that race. It was fantastic to see. Such a dominant drive from the German, and I think he put himself down as the one possibly to watch next season, and certainly going into Abu Dhabi as well. Should be really intriguing to see. If everyone turns up for that battle for second, it's going to be one hell of a season finale.
Well, you're telling me, but thank you very much for joining us for TTL F2. If you like the stream so much, why don't you subscribe to TTTV? Next time we are live, it will be Thursday, and the TTL F1 finale at Abu Dhabi. Andy will be leaving the driver's seat and joining me back in the commentary box for that one. Make sure you're following this league on Twitter as well. It's at TTL_F2, and you can find out the driver of the day results and the full results after the stewards outing tomorrow, I believe. Tomorrow you'll be able to find out the results of those. You can also follow me on Twitter if you like. It's at KSMCG F1, and you can also follow James whilst you're there as well at B52head. James, I'm losing my mind.
I'm not at TTL_F1 or anything like that. Trust me. Just a final note to end off the stream. If anybody has not signed up to TTL F2 and is going to watch the stream either on Watchback, either on Playback or live now, please send a message to me and confirm your car. It'll be really intriguing to see if you want to stay in your own car, and I think most of the drivers that we've had signed up have stayed in their current cars. So if you want to follow that theme, just message me. I'm a very, very friendly person when it comes to messaging, and of course, me being head admin going forward, I can't wait to take the league forward, building on what we've had this season.
Well, there you have it. Couldn't have put it better myself, James. So make sure you join us next week for the season finale, and we'll see if Africa can make it 2 wins in a row, or will Siege return to normality. And also, it's the final race of season 4, but the preparations get underway for the end of season cup. More details on that when we get them, of course. Until then, though, I've been Kieran McGinley.
And I've been James Head.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.